We're nearing the end of the year, and before we get onto talking about 2025 with PSVR2 and the releases we have to look forward to in the upcoming 12 months, let's talk about the PSVR2 starter games for those of you who have just bought new headsets. This will be the last video that I'm really going to make talking about onboarding new people. We did a video yesterday talking about some tips and tricks for the headset, how to get things looking just right and feeling just right for you, but today we're talking about some good starter games that aren't going to give you intense motion sickness or anything like that. They're quite easy to get into, to onboard into, onto the platform and get your VR legs up and going. There'll be some classics here that you probably will know of, and then some games that you won't know of. Before we dive into this though, only 25% you are subscribed, so if you feel like subbing to the channel, please feel free to do so. And thank you to our patrons and YouTube members who help bring this content straight to you each and every day. With that being said, let's get into it. Let's kick things off with some standing beat games. These are a great way to kind of experience your first few forays into VR. Some newly released games like Trombone Champ may be up your street. This is literally a trombone playing game. It's an adaptation of the flat screen game and it works really well. Looks great, the haptics are good, and is all around one of the best rhythm games on the platform. Even though it's just come out, it's earned its place up there, so I'd recommend that. Synth Riders is also another fantastic PSVR2 rhythm game with some experience levels that you can also just kind of sit back and watch and enjoy without having to do anything. Those are really cool, but the actual beat gameplay loop of this game is kind of similar to, say, Beat Saber, but with more of a dancing feel to it. A lot of people actually like this game over Beat Saber, and I do understand why. I can't just mention Beat Saber as well and not get into it. Beat Saber, of course, is one of the most loved PSVR2 games in terms of getting people onto the headset and the platform for the first time and not experiencing motion sickness because it is another stationary one. It's one of the most bought VR games of all time for a very good reason. Great gameplay loop, looks fantastic, a load of songs to choose from, loads of DLC that you can buy if you feel so inclined. I revisit it very often and I really enjoy it every time that I do. But you probably knew about at least a couple of those, so let's delve a little further. Also in the standing game category, Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted and Job Simulator are two ones that I think are perfect for people who don't really want to move around too much when they're first getting into their PSVR2. Help Wanted is more horror focused. If you don't like horror games or jump scares or Five Nights at Freddy's, definitely steer clear. Job Simulator is fairly old, but still holds up to this day, and the PSVR2 port is a good one. And it'll offer you a lot of VR interaction and kind of get you used to existing in a virtual environment that you haven't experienced before. For games with simple gameplay loops and not many locomotion mechanics, I'd point you in the direction of Kayak VR Mirage, specifically the calm levels of Kayak VR Mirage. Don't go heading into the Soka Valley DLC because that is a downhill whitewater kayaking level, and don't head into any of the maps in the stormy preset. Even still, the more calm levels like the Arctic or Costa Rica can induce a little bit of motion sickness. The game also looks great and runs native 90Hz, which means no reprojection, so it'll feel very smooth to you, and that will help you with motion sickness as well. Similar one to this is Walkabout Mini-Golf. You can actually play this one with no stick movement at all if you want to. You can teleport around or you can use smooth movement if you'd like, but you can also just kind of position yourself with snap turning and pressing R2 to take yourself to your mini-golf balls. This is a mini-golf game on PSVR2 that is just fantastic. I really love it. It's great with friends, it's great solo, it's really relaxing, and it looks really good in terms of fidelity. And yeah, it's quite good for new players because you don't have to use that smooth movement all the time if you don't want to. And the gameplay loop is very simple to get hold of. It's just mini-golf, but in VR. Another great seated and non-motion sickness inducing experience is Puzzling Places. This is a 3D puzzle game where you're given a jigsaw to complete, but the parts of the jigsaw are actually 3D scan models of objects and places with some amazing sound design and fantastic visuals. It also has a multiplayer update as well if you'd like to complete a puzzle with anybody on PSVR2, Apple Vision Pro or Quest, and it's just a charming little VR game that shouldn't make you motion sick because you don't really actually have to move at all. Even for those of you who are more experienced in VR, Puzzling Places is just quite a relaxing and calming experience that I really do enjoy coming back to time and time again. This one also has a load of DLC. Little Cities Bigger is a city builder that isn't too challenging, to be honest. It's a bit more relaxing, feels a bit like Puzzling Places in that aspect, but does have a very fun gameplay loop and looks fantastic, and also has some pretty easy controls for navigating around the environments that you're building in, and the fact that you're so big also leans it towards it being slightly less motion sick inducing as well. Honestly, yeah, I'd put this in the same category as Puzzling Places. It's just a fantastic, relaxing little VR game that has a ton of polish to it and is genuinely charming. Stellaris Ghost Signal is also pretty tame on the motion and is a great sci-fi roguelike where you command a ship around the galaxy, coming across tons of different encounters in the Stellaris universe from this third-person perspective that doesn't cause you to feel too sick at all because you're not really moving too much. You're stationary pretty much all of the time as a fixed camera angle. You just command your ship to various points and to do various things from this position in the game. I really enjoy Ghost Signal. It also looks fantastic and has a ton of polish to it, a bit like Little Cities Bigger, in terms of how good it feels to play and navigate, and especially if you're a Stellaris fan, definitely pick this one up. Of course, when you've got your VR legs, hop into the big ones, for example Horizon Call the Mountain, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 8, Behemoth, Alien, Metro. Later on next year, hop into Hitman when that comes out, as long as it's pretty good. Arcane Age is also coming along next month, so there are some big games that you can really sink your teeth into. Gran Turismo 7 as well, I absolutely love. I think that's a must play, but maybe not if you've not got your VR legs just yet. When you do get there, one that I will recommend because of its PSVR2 features is Synapse. This is an eye-tracked PSVR2 game that doesn't just use it to make the game look better like some others like GT7 and Horizon and Resi, but it actually uses it for gameplay. So you use eye tracking to control your levitation and telekinesis in the game, which just works fantastically. It makes you feel like you have force powers. It's so cool. So definitely when you get your VR legs a little bit more, go and try that one out. That's all from me though. Please let me know if any of these suggestions were helpful. Head on to some of the less motion sick inducing games and let me know what you think of them. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one.